Coming up on this episode of The Social Hour, My Drunk Kitchen's Hannah Hart joins us. Is she drunk? You be the judge. Plus, celebrities that say celebrities are the ones ruining Twitter, and crowdsource your next big trip with Trippy. All that plus passing along your social networks after you die on The Social Hour.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for The Social Hour is brought to you by Cashfly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is The Social Hour with Sarah Lane and Amber MacArthur. Episode 28, recorded Monday, October 3rd, 2011. This episode of The Social Hour is brought to you by Audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/social hour. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 20% off your new account for 6 months, go to Squarespace.com and use the offer code SOCIALHOUR10. Welcome to another episode of The Social Hour. We're on episode 28, and from Petaluma, California at Twit World Headquarters, I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Amber MacArthur from, can I say Twit's Canadian headquarters? Not
Absolutely.
So much. It's really just my basement in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and it's just me, but I'm excited to be on the show, and we have lots to talk about today, Sarah, and an awesome, awesome guest.
We do have an awesome guest. I want to say a musical guest, part musical, part chef, part funny. But first, Amber, I just want to mention, you have not been in your basement for a while. So this is like, I'm getting flashbacks to last winter.
I know. It's like, I don't know. I think I always need and seek change in my life. And so I'm not very good at being in one place consistently, Sarah. So yeah, I just kind of mixed it up a little bit. I don't know why. I just
decided to go downstairs.
I just went downstairs. Maybe next time I'll go to the top floor. I don't know. You never know, Sarah. Airports, cars, runways. You never know. It's a mystery where I'll be when I tune in for the show.
Well, today it's your basement. So once again, you've surprised us all, Amber. We have an amazing guest today, who's somebody that I have been a fan of on the internet for some time, and I'm not really sure how you managed to book her on our show, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, super excited. We have Hannah Hart on the show. Some people may know her from her popular YouTube series, My Drunk Kitchen, where she likes to have a few drinks and cook. I was lucky enough to know a friend of hers in Toronto. She was here for a while, and she crashed on his couch. His name is Charles, and so he hooked me up, and she was kind enough to come on the show, even though this is an exciting time for her, and I know she's getting a ton of press and a ton of buzz online and offline.
Well, before we bring Hannah into the conversation, let's just get a little sense of what she's been up to lately musically.
Drop that beat. Well, I'm a serial killer, like my ice with vanilla. I always take my meats dried.
We need to have a serious taco. Don't touch these chips, they nachos.
I don't even really mind.
Why not?
'Cause I got a chip on my shoulder. I guess I'm getting older.
Your sweet is turning into a spice. So let's go and get some curry. Nobody's in a hurry.
Try to put my wine on your rice.
You know I never stop climbing.
Put spaghetti in my champion.
Lock it down with the key lime pie. Now this track is straight urban.
We better put some odds
You
in.
know that it's about time for you to show me where your nom's at. Where your nom's at. Show me where your nom's at. Where your nom's at. Show me where your nom's at. Where your nom's at. Baby got a palm that's so delicious. Yo, ice cream,
Cheesecake.
batter up,
Fatten up.
saddle up.
If you're with me, can I have a what?
What?
What you do with your favorite food?
I boast the most toasting, got that gravy too.
I got no ice around my neck, but I got spice that'll make you sweat. So play nice, 'cause you better bet I'm not quite finished.
All right, we have to introduce this genius. Hannah Hart has joined us now. Hannah, that was awesome. How do you come up with a song about nomming that's full of so much win, as our chat room just said?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Second most, according to my my little Twitter followers, all our pre-show discussions were live. So that's a little insider info.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Oh, sorry. We should have told you that, Hannah.
Right, yes.
Yeah,
We're always
what if I
live
was
here.
like saying some crazy shit? Like, thank God.
Yeah, the twit is kind of funny because we have shows that start and stop at specific times, but all of the in-between stuff is also live. So it's like...
That is kind of funny.
It's like an official, unofficial Twilight Zone of sorts. So, yeah.
Very cool. I got nothing to hide, so I just think that's funny. And you asked about how we came up with the nomming song. Actually, it's kind of interesting. I was in Toronto working on some other stuff and doing some like interviewing things, and Andrew, there's another song called the Nomming Song, which is on Andrew's channel, which is like this like juxtaposed kind of like J-pop sounding like I'm nomming, and then like jazzy like la da 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 da. So that was the first song that we did, and then while we were hanging out, we just wrote another one, which was Show Me Where Your Nom's At. So.
Very cool. So, we can talk a little bit more about your new singing career, but for people who were first introduced to you online, that happened through your YouTube videos at My Drunk Kitchen, which are absolutely hilarious. Can you tell us how that started and talk a little bit about the first video you put out there and what that was like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved to New York in January of 2011, and I put up the first video in March because I was really lonely and bored in New York. And I made it for a friend of mine who I was G-chatting with, kind of like how we are now. That's me in Canada. Hey!
It is. I picked this episode specifically because I knew Amber would be appreciative.
You're sweet.
Oh, yeah, poutine. Gotta love me some poutine. But yeah, so the first episode of My Drunk Kitchen wasn't like, this is me starting my YouTube career. It was, I'm going to make a video for a friend of mine and send it to her because she misses when we would get drunk and cook together. And so that's why it's called My Drunk Kitchen, because I was just sitting at my laptop like, My Drunk Kitchen. Here you go, Hannah Gelb. Follow me on Twitter, because you never follow me on Twitter.
So I love the music video, of course, we started off with is just awesome. But what we're looking at now, and Chad, you can turn the audio up a little bit, is more your style. I mean, you're in a kitchen. I don't know if it's always the same kitchen or not. But you've got a drink, and then you've got a food that you need to cook, and of course it gets harder and harder as you continue on because you don't ever stop drinking. And there's
what a deep analysis.
I know. Well, yeah, I've really thought a lot about this. But,
clearly.
There's the quick cuts, and you do all of this yourself. It's really a one-woman show. I mean, at least it seems like that on the outside. So I mean, the concept is so awesome, and it seems like it's caught on so much more than just you saying, I'm so bored, I'm so lonely, I should do something in a kitchen by myself.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a joke for a friend, man, So I think that's kind of one of the best parts of it is that when I do it, I still, I love the fact that people love it. And I think that might be one of the reasons why I feel so connected with my online community is that when I make it, I just think, oh, I'm making a video for my friends. Yeah. Instead of, okay, this is my YouTube campaign, gotta figure out all my stuff. Like, I don't do a video a week. I probably should, but I don't because,
it doesn't work that way, yeah.
It doesn't work that way, yeah. And I think it would get tired and I think it would get old. And I'd rather, like right now I have 10 videos I'm proud of and I like, as opposed to having, 40. And I was like, well, still 10 of them were good, Well,
so go ahead, Amber.
Oh, I'm just so curious now about what you do when you're not doing My Drunk Kitchen and what your life was before. I mean, I have to ask.
This is what I said when I said somebody was going to call to be let into the apartment. I just got to push a button.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll wait. Amber and we're used to this.
Okay, I'm going to write down.
I thought Hannah was afraid to answer the question about what she does in her day job. I was like, wow.
I kind of got like, it's like, you got, I should have said before the show, I don't want to be asked that question. Just letting a friend into the apartment. I know I've poked around Hannah's website enough to be somewhat familiar with the fact that I think she's a Bay Area native, like I am, moved to New York, obviously less than a year ago, and it sounds like is doing quite a bit of couch surfing, including with your friend in Toronto. And I love the idea that somebody put something together that was just a lark. It was just, I don't know, a way to pass time, something that a few of her friends would laugh at. But if you're not familiar with My Drunk Kitchen, hey, it's funny. It's really funny. And I think that that Hannah has, there's something to it, because that whole YouTube video, quick cuts, la 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 la, you know, it's like that style is something that I think a lot of people would watch it for 10 seconds and say, oh yeah, I'm familiar with this style type of a thing. Hannah, we were just talking about how there's a certain style that you see on sites like YouTube a lot now, where there's you know,
the jump cuts.
Yeah, exactly, the jump cuts,
You know why
all the funny stuff goes in. Why?
Oh, sorry to cut you off. Do you want to finish that?
No, I want to hear. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm not actually an editor. B, the title of the email was YouTube style cooking show.
Right. So it was a YouTube video parody to start off with.
Yeah, but shh.
Yeah.
Shh, we won't tell anyone.
Well,
okay,
it's accidental genius, right?
I have to find out what you do when you're not couch surfing, when you're not creating My Drunk Kitchen videos. What is Hannah do? Like 9 to 5?
Oh, I thought you meant like, what do you do, like long walks on the beach? Are you guys still there? Oh,
that's another show.
Who is Hannah Hart? What do you do? What do I do 9 to 5? I've actually, my whole life is kind of My Drunk Kitchen. No, I guess my whole life is kind of this entertainment thing. I mean, I had a day job. I was a proofreader at a translation firm. And then when I decided to cut my expenses, i.e., you know, leave my apartment and start couch surfing, I was able to kind of pour all my energy into trying to make this online thing work out.
All right, so so My Drunk Kitchen, although it's fun, and you're clearly very good at it because you're very funny, and I have to say, even though you aren't a professional editor, you do a really good job of making it as funny as possible. But this is something that you are taking seriously. You've got a shop on your website, you know, like funny apparel that people can buy. I know you've got some sort of a relationship with Revision 3. Some of my friends who work over there have talked about how you get a lot of views, and so companies like that are really interested in working with people like you. What do you see this an ideal scenario becoming?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I guess my ideal scenario, I guess what this whole process has allowed me to discover is that if I could make my career into being an entertainer, into being like a public persona in that way, where it's like, oh, I'd like to bring you some humor and some respite from, you know, regular life, that would be wonderful. And whatever venue is going to allow me to do that, whatever avenue is going to allow me to do that would be the one I'd like to pursue. Like right now, Revision 3 and I are talking about trying to figure out a way to just kind of expand. But yeah, everything takes a while, and it's a lot of thinking and talking and talking and thinking and that sort of thing. So in the meantime, I'm still making YouTube videos. What's going on up here? There we go.
You said before that you really, you know, you're creating these videos, you always create them like you're talking to a friend. But the reality is, for a lot of people who have become so successful, like you have on YouTube, there comes a time where all of a sudden you kind of put your business hat on. You're like, how do I take this to the next level? Do I go to television? Do I do a book? And I'm sure you've had people and offers as well. I'm curious about that transition for you. And I'm sure it's stressful and exciting at the same time. But, you know, what's happening now that you can talk about?
What's happening right now that I can talk about? Oh, geez. All of those things have been mentioned and are on the table.
Great answer. What do you want to do?
I want to be on Glee. Duh. Hello. No, I mean, like, I've been toying with a couple ideas for like other web series. I'm really glad that everyone has been so receptive to show me where your nom's at, because I think musical parody comedy is hilarious. And I think there's much more to be done there. Like the Lonely Island guys, those guys are amazing and have one of the best stories ever, where, you know, they were on YouTube posting up their stuff, and then Lorne Michaels is like, and they brings them onto Saturday Night Live. It's amazing, you know? So ideally something like that, whatever allows me to do this more.
So you've gotten a lot of attention. Obviously, I told you before the show that I had originally found out about you through Heather Armstrong, who runs Deuce.com, which is just like, when she links to you, traffic is absolutely crazy, because she's quite an internet star herself. Is that just something that happened and you got lucky? Do you try to spread the word by reaching out to people who you think would be like-minded and get something out of your performances? How do you kind of build the whole social momentum?
I guess, to be completely honest, I try and focus as much as I can on content, and not really sending it out to like certain groups, which I think is a good idea. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that like I try and push my energy into content, and then I just feel like-minded people, or people that enjoy that comedy, or people that enjoy that form of entertainment, will kind of push it forward naturally on their own. I mean, you know, I have a tendency to overthink. So I think if I really allowed myself to be like, should I be pushing this out to blogs? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? I would just get so caught up in that, and I wouldn't be able to, you know, go to the lighter side and just create, I guess. But that being said, it's interesting because there has been a lot of good press. Like, I've been in like Time, and I was on the front page of Reddit and Deuce and all this amazing stuff. But what I'm encountering on the traditional media end is that a lot of people are like, yeah, it's like a drunk girl. That's the joke. It's like a drunk girl in a kitchen. No, I don't even want to watch it. And I'm like, well, yeah, there you go. You know?
So this is a question that I'm sure you've had asked 4 million times. So this will be 4,000,001. Are you really actually drinking in all of these episodes?
I think that's another reason why people don't want to sign on. Yeah, I am. Why not?
No,
it's a YouTube show. I'm doing it in my kitchen.
I was going to say, you're a really good fake drunk if this is all kind of an act, but that would make it so much less fun, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty big ham, as is, you know? Like, right. So I am just kind of like that, kind of like da-da-da kind of person. I like campy stuff. I'm pretty kitschy. Like, so when I do get tipsy, I mean, I'm not like, well, in ice cream, I'm hammered. I mean, in ice cream, it's just like, whew, episode 8.
Everyone's watching that right now. You know, they're leaving our show and they're going to watch that.
It's like my favorite. It's one of my favorites because I'm just so blitzed. I actually fell down 4 times in ice cream, but I only showed 2 of them because the other 2 weren't as funny. No,
I was just going to ask that. You know, I'm sure since you're editing it, you have the opportunity to cut out some moments. Because personally, for me, that would have been my worst nightmare: is someone actually having video of me being drunk. It's a scary thought.
I think it's kind of more like this. It's funny because it's like I'm playing in my head. I'm playing a game. It's like I'm getting drunk. I'm getting drunk, having a couple drinks. I'm certainly not like blitzed or hammered every time. I'm get a healthy buzz. But the game in my head is, Hannah, you're hosting a cooking show, you know? And so in that way, it's just kind of, I think it's just fun to do, you know?
There's some basic goal in every video. Yeah. Like, no matter how crazy it gets, you remember, I've got to finish this Rice Krispie treat recipe. This is a goal.
This bag of ice cream has to be consumed, or else the world will not, you know, continue to function. I'm very important.
Well, if you're not familiar with Hannah Hart's work, she's also Harto on Twitter, My Drunk Kitchen. You've really got to check this stuff out. And believe me, Hannah, as you said, some people say, well, drunk girl in her kitchen, I don't know, I just don't even want to get into it.
Yeah, some people really don't want to see it. And I think that's also why there are no liquor sponsors involved, because they're like, we can't really sell. Look at this short little white girl getting drunk. Who wants to do that? Yeah.
But there is something, you know? I mean, I don't think everyone could just make this little web show, put it together, and it'd be funny. You're a very intelligent, funny person. So, you know, as this was just a big joke that turned into something more as it is. It's like, God, it seems like this is your calling.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely feel the vocation.
I was just curious, my last question from me, Hannah, and then we'll let you go because I'm sure you have lots to do, but has there been a moment yet where you've been almost like petrified? Like you get a lot of views on YouTube. I mean, there are companies and individuals who would die to get that much traffic, and you have a huge audience that you've built up so quickly. Is there a moment that you're just like, what am I going to do with all this?
Every single night when I try to fall asleep. That's the moment. It's just that, you know, I'm so happy, you know, and it's just awesome. Like, yeah, it's awesome. And overwhelming. And if I love the community that's been built. And if everything were to like stop at this exact moment and this is as far as it went and that was it, like it's still been amazing. And I'm still feel very lucky.
Well, for all of our sake, I hope it doesn't stop here because your videos are great. And thank you so much for joining us on the Social Hour.
Yeah.
We haven't had a YouTube star ever, maybe, Amber? Certainly not recently. So it's a lot of fun.
So yeah, no. So you're the
YouTube
first.
stars, they're just like us.
Hey, keep up the great work. You're doing an awesome job, and I know we're going to see you on many different platforms and many different places pretty soon. So congratulations.
And I want to come
you,
to one of
guys.
your
Thank you
live
so much
events
for
next
having
time
me.
you're in the Bay Area for sure. I missed Drunk Iron
Petaluma.
Chef when you were back when you were back here a couple months ago, and it sounded like it was a really good time. So we'll be at the next one.
It was the bomb. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. You've been
Thank you.
absolutely lovely.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. See you on the tubes.
Cheers.
Oh, Amber, I have had so much fun watching Hannah's videos.
Oh, I know. They're great. I mean, she's
really
just
funny.
She's really funny. She's really talented. She can also sing. I mean, with each and every new video, there's some type of talent that comes out, you know. So I think she's one of those people that, you know, aside from just sort of being a YouTube star and fitting in that box, there's so many different places that she could go and so many opportunities. So I hope she ends up working with the right people and getting to the right place. And we'll hear her, you know, who knows where, Sarah.
Well, this is the thing, too, with people who are obviously genuinely very talented. In Hannah's case, funny, but I mean, that's a part of being really talented, is it used to be really hard to, what are you going to do? You go get an agent, you join some sort of like a comedy troupe, maybe you get lucky, you probably don't. People like this can get so much attention just by, as Hannah said, she didn't really do a lot of work getting the word out. It just kind of happened, but the beauty of the internet is it's not hard to for word to spread about somebody who's good at this. I mean, I can see her, I don't know, I mean, in comedy films. I mean, she's funny.
She's hilarious. I know. So super excited to have her on. We can be like, we knew her when, Sarah.
That's right. Yeah,
We're going to have that moment.
when she was still couch surfing.
Yeah, when she's still sleeping on couches. And then all of a sudden she's going to be on SNL and we'll email her and she'll be like, Sarah Amber who?
She'll
What?
be like, yeah, I don't really do
Social hour?
that whole internet TV thing anymore.
Yeah, you guys are still doing that?
Yeah,
Haven't
more
you been done?
NBC at this point. Well, that was great. So Hannah's actually just one of many. We really haven't reached out to so many of those internet celebrity types, which is obviously the Social Hour is about so much more than celebrity. But so many of these people have just figured out the social element of what they're good at to an extent that I think that they could be really interesting for us. So we should definitely look down that avenue. In the meantime, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially on YouTube, I feel like that's one social network, at least for me, that I've never really succeeded at, you know, in the sense that I get Twitter, I get Facebook, Google Plus, but with YouTube, it's kind of a scary space in the sense that, you know, they're very critical on there, right? The community is very critical, or they're very loving, and you have to have a certain something. So I think it's a harder place for many people to succeed.
Absolutely. Yeah, got to have a thick skin. Something tells me Hannah does. she probably likes those bad comments. And you got to check out her website. It's hartoandco.com, where she's got, you know, blog entries, some extra little videos. We'll obviously put the link up to her music video, which is awesome. And by the way, Chad, you said before the show that her rapper, the second half of the duo, is actually somebody that you know from YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, he says. He helped make Chad's, what is it, like your one-man song?
Yeah, he made my OMG It's Chad song.
Which I love.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. Talent that I don't have.
Yeah, well, some of us don't. So, hey, YouTube stars unite. All right, so quick reminder, all of the video links that we showed on the show, but other ones as well for Hannah, and just links in general. Anything we talk about in all the shows can always be found at twit.tv/TSH. That's our show mothership. It's where all of our archives live. It's where all of our links to subscribe to the show, audio or video feeds, always free, of course, if you're new to subscriptions. Just an easy way not to have to even think about the show. It gets delivered to you, whether it's iTunes or how you like to consume shows of your choice. And that's really easy. Also, you know, if you watch the show regularly, but you missed episode 23, you can just go back and watch it straight from the page. We have all of our videos embedded on the site. We're maybe you liked this interview so much and you're watching live, you want to go watch it later. That's cool too. For anybody who's not watching live, who says, how do I watch live? That sounds like fun. You're talking to people in chat while you're doing the show. That's really cool. Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific is when Amber and I sit down and record the social hour in 2 different countries. Although sometimes, Amber, you're in the U.S., but usually we pretty much just have North America covered.
Yes,
Usually,
usually,
but correspondent, and then we're good to go.
It's soon, Sarah. It's only a matter of time.
Absolutely. All right, before we get into the rest of our show, and we have so much more coming, want to thank Audible for being this week's sponsor. Now, Amber, you're either going to think that this is funny or you're going to think that this is maybe the weirdest thing ever. But I thought a really good example of a great audiobook this week is Carrie Fisher's Wishful Drinking.
Oh, that's great. I think that's great.
Good. I'm glad, because I know some people would be like, whoa, what are you saying about Hannah? Nothing. In fact, Leo and I, somebody had mentioned something like, Sarah looks like Princess Leia, which I've heard a lot about. And Leo said, hey, have you ever thought about dressing up like that? You do look like Carrie Fisher. So then we got into like, what's Carrie Fisher doing now? And then he reminded me that she has, it was like a one-woman show, which I don't believe she's still doing on tour anymore. But it's also a book called Wishful Drinking about her sometimes kind of tragic life growing up, you know, as a child of celebrities and a celebrity herself, and issues with alcoholism. But she's really funny.
Super funny.
The audiobook is great because she narrates it herself, and I mean, anybody who's a Carrie Fisher fan would have it no other way. And this is a book that, if you're interested in, hey, you know, what's going on with the whole, you know, what did Princess Leia end up doing? What was the whole deal with her whole alcoholism and sort of drop out of the spotlight for all of those years? You can find out with this audiobook on Audible for free. That is the gift that we are giving to you. audiblepodcast.com/social hour is the URL to use. Once you go to Audible using our special URL, you can sign up to Audible and get an audiobook completely free. So, you know, it's like you go into a bookstore and you steal a book and you run out and nobody ever arrests you. It's great. That's our gift to you. Wishful Drinking. Check it out, or, you know, just browse Audible. I mean, they have over 75,000 audiobook titles. It's actually kind of overwhelming. It's like being in a really big bookstore, quite frankly. But if you know what you're looking for, they've got easy search functionality. I've never looked for a book that wasn't in there. And not only do some celebrities like Carrie Fisher narrate their own books, but other books are read by people either who are famous or you might recognize for certain things, or just have great voices. Sometimes multiple voices are used when it's a book that has a lot of different characters. So it's really a lot of fun to consume a book through Audible. Again, audiblepodcast.com/social hour is our special gift to you. Free book of your choice. And we thank them so much for sponsoring this episode.
Awesome pick.
All right. So, Amber, this is actually a link that you had sent to me about sharing your Etsy profile on Twitter, involving your online community a little bit more broadly than just Etsy. Is that right?
Yeah, so this is a fun one. You know, we always talk about social media tips, how individuals and companies can kind of take their brand to the next level or their presence to the next level. This is a fun idea that Etsy did with its own community. Sarah, I know you're familiar with Etsy. If there are people out there who aren't, it's a great community of craftspeople who sell just amazing, unique, one-of-a-kind crafts. And they used to have just this plain black and white background on their Twitter page. They had that for a very long time, but then their social media manager realized that if they're going to kind of walk the talk and be this really creative community, they should do something more. So what they do every month, they give the opportunity to someone in the Etsy community to basically redesign their Twitter background. So they replace their Twitter background on a monthly basis and just kind of customize it so it's always changing and incorporating the community. So I think it's a really great social tip for anyone out there who is trying to build up some presence on the web and wants to, you know, do something just a little bit different to involve followers or friends on Facebook, whatever it might be, just offering the opportunity for them to be part of the evolution of a company's brand. So that's our social tip for this week.
Absolutely. I love Etsy. Etsy is one of those sites that obviously they have a very strong community, but Sometimes it can tend to stay within Etsy. I mean, there are very talented people making really great stuff and selling them for quite often, I mean, undervalued prices. And every so often somebody will send me a link to an Etsy artist. Oh, Sarah, you might kind of like this sort of stuff. And then I go, oh man, I wish I would have known about this person. I could get this beautiful framed picture for $20, you know, just as an example, because I love wall artwork. So yeah, the more that Etsy artists can spread the word that they exist and they're making cool stuff that might really resonate with people. I mean, even just, you know, the holidays, to get somebody something that's really unique that you're not going to find at a mall, that's going to help support a smaller artist who's doing something interesting that they love. I just love it.
It's a great community.
Good tip.
So it's fun to see them actually doing something really creative with their background. It reminds me a little bit, I had a tip a while ago when we were talking about Facebook pages, how a company that I had worked with had actually determined a friend of the week for Facebook, and they would take that person's picture, Sarah, do you remember that? And they would replace their profile image on Facebook with their friend of the week, kind of like employee of the week. So again, just creative ideas to incorporate community into your overall online presence.
Wasn't that it was a storage company,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that they made my profile friend of the week one week, and I was so excited. Even though it's like I'm clearly not a customer, but I appreciated it. Yeah, I was actually very confused because it was a few weeks after our show, so they'd probably figured out, oh, they had talked about us and were nice enough to feature me. And I was like, what is going on here? Somebody. You know, stealing my identity, and then I realized, oh no, it's that nice company that does these nice things for people.
That's so funny. Well, yeah, so maybe a lesson if you are going to do something with this, whether it's a background or a profile picture, notify the individual and make them part of that experience so they can promote it and be in the loop too.
Exactly. All right, next story. This is a good one because it involves Noel Gallagher, who is one half of the band Oasis, the brother band of the Gallaghers, who are known for being extremely talented musicians, but also fighting a lot with each other. They're no longer working together right now, so lots of spats and very, very sort of public antics, I guess you could say. Noel Gallagher says celebrities have ruined Twitter. He says, yeah, you know, I was never really much of a tweeter in the first place. I'm not so interested in who's going to take a shower or, you know, who slept in too late type of a thing. But at least, you know, it was the intention to connect ordinary people around the world, right? But with celebrities, they got involved and they bastardized it because now they're just trying to sell you their stuff. He used a different word than stuff, but you can imagine what that word was. Actually, Hannah used it earlier in the show. He says there's too much of that. Anything that's of any use, famous people get a hold of, and they take it for themselves, and then it gets a bad rap. So I have to laugh a little bit because I feel like, first of all, Noel Gallagher is a celebrity himself. So I'm not sure if there's an us and them thing that he's using to separate himself from other people. And obviously, as a musician, there's money to be made, and that's part of the draw of, you know, selling out big arena shows. But does he not understand that you don't have to follow any celebrity who you feel like is just pimping out all of their stuff and ruining the experience? I mean, I find it very easy to either not follow them or downright block them if you don't want to see retweets from other people.
Sarah, you know, I've been dying to write a blog post about this particular topic, and I want to call it something along these lines of the only thing worse than a celebrity on Twitter is a celebrity bashing celebrities on Twitter. Because honestly, like there are celebrities on Twitter who are a little annoying, I suppose, but you're exactly right. You don't have to follow them. But the fact that Noel Gallagher even brings this up and is making such a big deal about it and talking about Twitter where he's saying people are just, you know, commenting about when they're going to take a shower or sleep in. It reminds me of Prince a little bit. Who, you know, Prince goes on his internet bashing bandwagon once in a while where he just hates everything to do with the web. So I just think it makes some of these people look bad, and it makes them seem as though they haven't really caught on with what's happening in the digital world and even kind of taken advantage of it too. It just makes me kind of, I don't want to say hate them because that's too strong of a word, but just kind of dislike them. Not that he was one of my favorites to start with.
Yeah. There's also a difference between somebody who is clearly promoting a service that they're getting paid for through a tweet, and I think many of us are hip enough to that whole scheme that we can tell the difference. I mean, you're supposed to disclose, but even if you don't, sometimes it's very obvious when someone is like, okay, they're getting paid by Fitz-a-Trim or something to say that they lost a lot of weight using this little pill. But that is different, to me anyway, than right before the show, or just as the show started, I tweeted out, hey, My Drunk Kitchen's Hannah is going to be joining us. You should come watch. That could be seen by some people as self-promotional and, you know, getting old. And I think that that's where you just have to do your best to balance it out with other stuff so you don't seem like just some sort of self-promotional machine. But hey, you know, if you're a celebrity, I mean, whatever that even means anymore, and you want people to know about the cool stuff that you're doing, that's a little bit different, because you can seem like, they've ruined it. All they do is talk about themselves and they're just trying to sell you something. I mean, I would like to sell everyone in the world on the social hour. I mean, all you have to do is watch. You know, it's not really, I don't need any of your money, but I mean, that is maybe something that Mr. Gallagher thinks is what Twitter's not intended for, but he's totally missing the point, if so.
Yeah, he just misses the point. I think we should not waste any more time on that guy, Sarah. He does not deserve any more time.
So
over him.
You are my Wonderwall, but...
That was good, Sarah. You're good. So someone who I really do like, I'm not sure if you're a fan, Jamie Oliver.
I am, yeah.
Absolutely love him, and have been a big fan of his show, Food Revolution, where he goes into schools across America and tries to kind of revamp the lunches that they're making. He just launched this, it's almost like a mini, I don't know if I can call it a photo social network or something along those lines, of the best and worst school lunch photos. And so it's a wall of sorts, kind of like a Facebook wall, where people can post pictures of lunches that are being eaten right now across the U.S. and elsewhere, and then rate these lunches. I think it's a really fun idea. To be honest with you, I flipped through a bunch of the pictures, and I was horrified at some of the meals, and then pleasantly surprised at what some kids were eating. But more horrified, I think.
For the most part, I think these look, I mean, look at that guy on the right. It's like some sort of like a nice chow mein thing. Chad, if you click on that image, go ahead and click it, then it'll take you to the page where you can actually rate it. I mean, so if you go ahead and give it, I don't know, Chad, what do you think? That's a 4-star for you? That, at this point, so you've gone ahead and said, listen, that looks like a really good lunch, really healthy, looks like it was made with good ingredients type of thing. The whole point then is to share it with as many people as possible, to get the word out of what kids are eating in cafeterias, because anybody who's familiar with Jamie Oliver knows that he's on quite a crusade right now to get schools to give kids more healthy stuff, because kids are stuck there, and if they're eating Taco Bell and soda all day long, there's no way that they're going to learn good eating habits as they grow up. Some of these lunches look better than others. The one in the middle, I'm not sure. Oh, there's a banana there, I guess. But yeah, other lunches, I was like pleasantly surprised. I mean, I ate French bread pizza every day in 4th grade and never thought anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are, just for our audio listeners too, some of them, they're very colorful, lots of vegetables, lots of fruit as well. There's a couple, though, after about 3 or 4 good lunches, there's a couple that are just like tater tots, cheeseburgers, chocolate pudding. You'll see one kind of horrible lunch that I don't know how you felt, Sarah, when you looked at it, but I feel like I would never eat that, let alone give it to a child. I just think it's a really neat use of using photos and rating photos to try to get a message across and kind of further his Crusader campaign. And I think it will I think it will catch on. I think people like rating things like this. I think it was described on Mashable as being like hot or not for school lunches, and that's the best way to explain it.
And the whole idea that his whole crusade is coming from a really good place. So build something that's fun for people. It's not hard to participate. Let's say that you are the superintendent of a school district who's got some pictures of lunches up there with 5 stars. That's something that you want to brag about. I mean, that's something that would set you apart from other school districts, at least in the eyes of parents. Even if kids don't care so much, certainly parents do. So I think this is a great idea. I mean, Jamie Oliver is really taking social media, to say by storm. I know that sounds silly, but he's all over Instagram. He's got his show. I watch it on Hulu, which is the whole season is about the school lunch system in Los Angeles and just trying to get the system to be turned around so that kids are healthier. I mean, he really takes this stuff seriously. So if you haven't tried it out, you should definitely hop in there, especially if you're either a parent or intimately familiar with the school lunch system, and see how the lunches your kids are eating stacks up with the rest.
We need to get them on the show, Sarah.
That fruit one, how can that have 1 star? That's like my favorite of all of them. That's the school I want to go to.
No kidding. Yeah, some of them do look pretty good, but I suspect that's not reflective necessarily of reality.
Exactly.
You may not see the worst of the worst, unfortunately. So we also have some feedback from our viewers and listeners. First up, this is from Aaron B. from chat. He says, "Hello, kind ladies. Echo shared this with me in chat, and I felt the need to pass it on to you. Seems like the owner of a startup that specialized in timelines decided not to go against the Facebook monster and calls it quits. And the way he did it was unusual, to say the least. He's selling it on eBay. Man, sometimes things just move fast, don't they? I love the show and the energy you both bring to the network. Thanks for everything."
Well, thank you, Aaron B. So glad to have you. So I was like, what is Aaron B. talking about? And it turns out that this is the creator of a website called lifepath.me, which was a website that chronicled your travails across the internet, where you've been, what you've been looking at. It kind of had a humorous, really nice, actually nicely designed, humorous take on, I don't know, I mean, just the social networks you've been hanging out on and where you were in your life type of a thing. Now, he says his whole thing is, I don't want to compete with Facebook because now Facebook has that whole timeline thing going on. And once Facebook gets on board with anything, then it crushes the little guys. I don't even think I would agree with him on that. People said Facebook Places would kill Foursquare, Facebook check-ins. Didn't really happen. They said Facebook deals would kill sites like Groupon. Certainly hasn't happened yet. So I don't necessarily think that just because Facebook gets on board with an idea that your idea is toast. But for whatever reason, he wants to get rid of lifepath.me, and he's selling it on eBay for, I believe it was a little over $10,000.
Yeah, $10,200 right now, it looks like. So
does someone do something like this? Obviously, it's a little bit of a publicity stunt because we're talking about it here, publicity. But is it because he didn't have any other interest and figures, why not just do this? What have I got to lose because nobody came to me with a bunch of cash wanting to take this site off of my hands?
I just don't know. So is this, I don't know. And I mean, and also it's an interesting way to sell a service. I don't think I've ever seen this before. So from that perspective, I'm kind of intrigued. But who really knows what he was thinking and if it will actually get sold? I feel doubtful. It's not exactly, a cheap little site that he's trying to get rid of. But nonetheless, I guess I can applaud him for his creativity.
Then again, I mean, even if it was just the domain, who knows? Maybe somebody out there thinks lifepath.me is something of quite a bit of value. Domains go for a lot of money here and there, so I'm not sure.
We'll have to watch this. Well, keep us updated if you hear anything more about this, Aaron B, and you see it get sold, and what's the next step for it.
Yeah, please do. I got another email from B. Lissa. I think her name's actually Melissa, but she's beat Lissa in this email. This is in response to Amber's Ratterfad from 2 episodes ago, which was the Clue app, which helped people figure out where there was a private restroom nearby that might belong to a friend of your friend that you might use at a crucial time of need. B. Lissa says, I agree with Sarah about not wanting to list my bathroom on a social network. I've had bad experience both with allowing strangers to use my bathroom and using the bathroom of a friend in an emergency, and I wouldn't recommend it. And she actually has a specific case. In college, I lived right across the street from the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. One day before a concert, an early arrival fan knocked on the door and actually said, "Can I use your can, man?" I had a fresh memory of my own desperate need for a bathroom in the middle of the night while camping out for a season basketball ticket, so I felt sorry for him, and I let him in. He was in there forever. When he came out, he thanked us. I remember he offered us a swig from an open bottle of Southern Comfort, which we declined. But we later discovered his activities had resulted in a clogged toilet. It was not a pretty picture. So no, I don't think I'll be listing my bathroom on the internet. B. Lissa, I'm so sorry. See, that's my worst nightmare. That's exactly why I wouldn't do it either. And what a good Samaritan you were. But then you got dumped all over. No pun intended.
Literally. That's just disgusting. I have no comment for any of that. All I have to say is that if you, I think that's our last email, or did we get one more?
Oh, we actually have one more, yeah.
Yeah, this one was
so
kind of
much
fun.
email this week.
Yeah, from Michael in Houston. Ran across a cool app website for crowdsourcing your vacation. If you need a beta access code, Chase Jarvis on Google Plus gave his access code Chase out to the public. Have a great day and keep up the awesome work. And this is for Trippy, so you can use the invite Chase. Chase Jarvis is a great guy too. He does a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't Trippy though. Have you?
Well, I actually think, now maybe I'm wrong, because Michael sent us this email about 9 days ago. I didn't see it before last week's show. I think it's open to the public now because I didn't use any offer code and it was easy for me to sign up using my Facebook account. But Trippy is great. I love the idea of this. Chad, if you want to take my screen, I've actually created a little trip for myself that gives you a sense of what you do and how it works. So I created, this is fictional, but I would really like to go to Namibia at some point. But I said, I'm going to be in Namibia in March 2012. I'm considering going for 10 days, and I'm interested in activities that relate to adventure and culture. So those are a couple of tags that I just gave this trip of mine right off the bat. Now, at this point, what you do is you create a trip. And by the way, you could say, I want to go to Namibia, and I don't even have any plans to go. I have no idea when that would be. So you don't have to say it's March of 2012, but I just said, I don't know, maybe that's when I would go. At that point, what you do is the whole point is to share this trip. So this is not a trip that you've taken. This is a trip that you want to take, and you want to crowdsource any information that anybody else who's been there, knows people who've been there, has access to a great photo album, etc., would be able to give you. And it's such a simple idea because obviously we all do this anyway. If I was going to Africa for the first time, which I'm dying to do for real, I would ask as many people as possible. Do you know anything about this? What part did you go to? Do you have any do's or don'ts? That's all very important when you're going to a new place. And this, doesn't have to be Africa. It could be Toronto. I know as much about Toronto as I do about Namibia, quite frankly. So Trippy is it's like this really great infrastructure as far as sharing trips that you want to take and you want your expert friends to weigh in on. I love it. They also have an app, iPhone app, and also a web interface.
I think I've heard, you know what, now that I think about it, I think I've heard a little bit about Trippy recently, too. It sounds very familiar. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's a great service. Makes me want to travel.
Yeah,
out of the basement. We love to get feedback from all of you. So remember, it's super easy to send us an email. All you have to do is write us at thesocialhour@twit.tv. You can also leave us a voicemail at 2626social. I love getting voicemails. I know Sarah does too. Or even better, record a short video. Keep it to about 30 seconds. Upload it and send us a link to that, and we'll include it on the show. So if you have a web pick or a social tip, I think social tips would be very helpful too, because those are always tough to come up with every week. All you have to do is send it over to us, and we'll take a look and hopefully feature it on an upcoming episode.
Absolutely. We did get some voicemails, and I really wish we had more voicemails because we really haven't played any in a while, and it's because 30 seconds or less is really that magic length, because if they go on, sometimes you guys call and you just kind of start talking to us, and it's great, but it doesn't work so well for the show format later on. So just try to keep that 30-second at the high water mark. Before we get to Amber's Rad or Fad, we want to thank Squarespace. They are our second sponsor of the show. And Squarespace is great. I use them, and I'm really not much of a blogger these days. I wish I could say that I was, but I'm so busy doing all of my social stuff that it really takes up all of my non-working time. But Squarespace is actually really good for that because they have so many social widgets that you can add to any sort of a blog or website page layout, so that when you're updating that stuff, it automatically comes in and you seem like you're really active. Well, you are active on the places that matter to you. But if you're not familiar with Squarespace, Squarespace.com is the place to go to get a sense of the kind of high-quality websites and blogs that people are making all the time. There are an iPad app, which I actually use quite a bit. There's a great web interface. There's really good customer support when you've figured out a layout, you've put something together. It only takes a couple minutes to get something that looks really nice off the bat. But let's say you say, okay, well, I'm not so great with customization. I don't know CSS. I want to make something nice. Squarespace gives you so many themes just to start off with, templates, that you'd be surprised what you can put together in just a short amount of time. But if you do get stuck and you have questions for the team, I've always found their customer support to just be really top-notch. Not only do they get back to you in record time, but they always give me the answer that I need so that I can keep creating. Really good metrics as well. Find out who's coming to your site, what time of day, where they came from, who linked to you, all that good stuff, who's looking at your site. And again, the widgets really help put together the best of where you are on the internet kind of into one place. It's almost like an aggregation of all your activity. There are so many ways that you can use Squarespace. Video shows, like something like Hannah Hart could use Squarespace as her landing page for all of her My Drunk Kitchen videos, for example. I know Tom has one for his Sword and Laser podcast that he does with Veronica Belmont. Works really well for a variety of different content, not just blogging, but blogging too. I mean, hey, if you're a prolific writer, you definitely want to be at Squarespace. So we have a nice little deal for you. Offer code SocialHour10 when you sign up at Squarespace gets you 20% off for your first 6 months. I think this is the best deal that we've had so far. And by the way, you don't need your credit card. You don't need to give them, all of your personal information just to get started. What they want you to do is check out the site. Hey, check it out for 6 months, import some data from your other websites, which is free and really easy to do, by the way. Get started, have a discount, check it out, see how you like it. And if you're into it after 6 months, then, and you probably will be, you can stay with Squarespace for life because they're not going anywhere. Squarespace.com, offer code SocialHour10. It's a new code. The last time we had one of these codes, it was not the 10th month of the year, so it was a different number. So SocialHour10 for October, which we are finally in. And Amber, that scares me a lot because I remember just yesterday saying, oh my gosh, it's May. But now it's October.
I know. I always get that feeling at the end of the year too, Sarah. It just means we're getting older.
It does.
We're closer to death. And
time passes so quick.
It goes so quickly. And, yet we've been posting to all these social networks. And what happens when we die? This is something no one wants to think about. So for today's Rad or Fad segment, the site in question is called Pass My Will. And I should say it's more of a service. And the concept behind it, there's been other services like this out there, but it almost creates a will for all of your social media accounts. So for your online assets and passwords, it monitors your activity on social media accounts. And then when you start to, potentially, if you had passed away and you stopped posting, then you have the opportunity for a code to be sent to someone who you've left it to in your digital will. And that person is able to figure out what they want to do with all of your digital assets. So like I said, no one wants to think about this, Sarah. However, we have a lot of content within many of these different social services. And so we'll be hearing a lot more about these. As for Rad or Fad, I know that's what you're waiting for. I think the concept's kind of rad, but I'm not a big fan of this particular service because I don't think it's accurate as far as how it determines when you've passed away. I mean, if you just stop posting for a while, it's all of a sudden going to give up all your information and assume you're dead. That doesn't seem right, Sarah.
Well, and doesn't it, I know that this was actually created by a guy in Siberia, which is kind of impressive, but he, the reason that we know about it is he was part of a TechCrunch Disrupt Hackathon recently that happened in San Francisco, and this was something that he created. So, and he has said, listen, all of the, the information, everything's encrypted, so if you are somebody who wants to sign up for this type of a thing, you don't have to worry about anybody that you haven't designated to be your next of kin or whatever getting their hands on this. That this is all very secure. There he is in his Siberian hat, which is very nice. It looks actually a lot like one of Leo's hats. Probably is very similar. But people have questioned, well, wait a second. Now, the service attempts to send you a few emails. Once you've, let's say, you just say, I don't know, I want to unplug for like a year type of a thing. I think the idea is that Pass My Will kind of ping you like, are you still around? Just let us know you're not dead. And then it'll finally determine that maybe you're gone if you ignore them long enough. But hey, I've signed up for so many services that I will never remember to log back into again because maybe they've experienced various, I don't know, they've languished, let's say. So I'm pretty familiar with the idea of just not responding to services, and they're sending you a lot of like email notifications and you're just like, I don't even care what you're selling anymore type of thing. And also, I don't necessarily have anything to hide, but okay, so let's say I was using Past My Will. I would definitely give access to my mom because that's who would get access to, you know, that's my family member that I would think of. I don't know that I want my mom in my Facebook profile. I mean, I haven't been talking smack about her or anything, but it's like, it's sort of a really personal part of your life that I can't imagine wanting someone to just have access to as if they were you.
Yeah, you know, and one of my other beefs with this service is that when you go to pastmywill.com, this drives me crazy when you have social services out there and there's no place where you can read up more about the company. So, for instance, when I go to this, it's almost like a splash page, so you can sign up right there. But I like it when companies have like an About Us section at the bottom, contact us, privacy policies, whatever those things might be. Yet it's just kind of floating out there and it looks like it took someone just a few minutes to put it up. So I tend not to trust services like this. That's just my own personal opinion. So I'm going to have to put it in the fad category. And if anyone finds a better service, because I think the concept makes sense, please let us know. But I don't think this one is it yet.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pass as well. I'm passing on Past My Will. It's fad, and I don't even know if it's even fad because I don't know anybody who was using it. But if you are, or you think that it's a good idea, let us know what we're missing. Let us, you know, give us a good case study of why this is absolutely something that we need to change our minds on.
Can change our minds. We're not opposed to that. It can happen, but
it's true. We are open-minded.
We are. So this one is definitely a fad, and I'll have to find something really cool and rad for next week.
Absolutely. Well, you know, speaking of next week, I think we're going to have to pick up next week because we're finally at the end of our show.
I know. We're done for this week, and it was a good one, Sarah. I'll think of another guest for next week, and I'm sure you'll do the same. There's so many people that I would love to have on, so I'll start sourcing them now. And
absolutely.
If anyone has any feedback on who they would like to see on the show as a guest, just let us know, and we'll try to get them. It always helps when you have an army of people kind of harassing someone on Twitter and saying they should go on. That's helpful for us.
That's true. Yes.
In a nice way.
Yes. Amber's like a really nice harasser, though, so it's kind of fun when she harasses people. You got Hannah to come join us on the show today, and that was great.
Good.
Hannah Hart, if you tuned in late in the show, if you're watching live, definitely go back and watch the beginning of the show because we had a really funny gal, Hannah Hart from My Drunk Kitchen, as our weekly guest. And yeah, we'll get another good one next week. A reminder that we are live Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. But if you don't watch us live, you can always watch us on demand a lot of different ways. We don't mind as long as you're enjoying the show. Our website is twit.tv/TSH. And I actually found Amber to play us out I just love this video. A friend of mine, Nate Bolt, a.k.a. Boltron, on Twitter, sent a link around that's called Tokyo in Slow Mode. And I think it's just perfect for us to say goodbye to. So, have you seen this before?
I have not. I can't wait, Sarah. So we'll see everybody else next week, and let's take a look at the video.
All right, bye, everybody.